Welcome back. In the previous episode with neuroscientist Dr. Robert Cooper, we learned that consistently upwiring was an active choice that we have to make every day to be more curious, be a little better, and test ourselves. If we don't make this active choice, our brain's hardwired tendencies will keep us doing the same things over and over. In this episode, Dr. Cooper shares how we can each individually improve by focusing on the intersection of what matters most, what we can control, and what is possible.
Something I learned when I was a young boy from my grandfathers was this notion of focusing on the right intersection. And it's hugely important as a small adjustment to make in unlocking your true potential, in asking what is possible, in individualizing improvements. In all these areas, this idea that as we're about to commit another precious piece of our life, right? It's time, it's energy, it's creativity, it's possibility into this interaction, to this choice, into this action, where these circles intersect. So the intersections are, what is possible. So it started with two circles, notes scribbled on the back of an envelope for me by my grandfathers. One circle is what matters most, and then a circle intersecting it is what you can't control. And they drew an arrow and they said, you should focus on the intersection of these two circles, what matters most and what you can't control. And if you only focus on one of the circles, what matters most, a lot of what matters most for each of us, we can't control. We can focus on it sometimes in a visionary sense, right? In an ideological sense, in the sense of goals or dreams. That's fine. What matters most, wherever that is, and it can evolve and change over our lives. But if we stay there, we're a visionary without action. We tend to get lost over there. We have these big dreams that don't happen. The other circle is what you can't control. So the things that we each have influence over, but a lot of them don't matter. That's busy work. It's distractions. It's trivia. It's getting all tangled up, wondering what happened to my time. I missed out on focusing on my priorities. So we need the ability to have influence. And we have to wonder where that intersects with this what matters most circle. And then if you had a third circle at the top, what is possible? So possibility stretches us. And the hardwired brain tends to run from that, right? It loves comfort. It loves routine. It loves doing what we call it with our neuroscience teams, polishing the past, instead of creating the future, because creating the future is always uncomfortable. There's this constructive irritation, discomfort, this stretch. It's something new. It's different. The hardwired brain and nervous system tend to lean away from that unless, again and again, right, we help them lean in.
If our brains are hardwired to maintain the status quo, then how do some of the world's top performers make it look so effortless?
We could build a case that the biggest difference between the most successful, highest performers in the world and everyone else is that they have learned to individualize the changes they make, the improvements that they set in motion. The way they learn, they instinctively want to apply the learning. That's a huge difference between the best performers and all the rest. They always link learning and initiative. The rest of the world seems engulfed in information. The illusion we have is that that's knowledge and that's growth. It's neither one of those. As we're learning things, we have to make these things our own. In what ways might they improve our life, our difference making? How could they uplift the people around us and the bigger world? We have to be testing that. We're pilot testers. And almost all human beings miss that. And one of the distinct differences is we know in neuroscience through all kinds of studies and lenses that we are each a one-of-a-kind human being. There's never been another person like any one of us. There never will be again. And that neuro-individuality or bio-individuality, we have to honor it more because that just means that what worked for someone else, all this noise and information out there that we hear about programs and do this and this worked for me and we tried, it's like the world of diets and fitness programs, and it might have worked for someone else as an individual, but they promote it as if it's going to work for all of us the way they did it, and it doesn't. So it increases the frustration. We have all kinds of slippage and failures along the way and disappointments. If only we had paused to adjust it to our unique goals, our unique temperament, traits, drive, purpose, missions in life, priorities, adjust it, test it, just sense, is this better? No, let's come at it this way. Is this better? And in those moments, we make this chance to become more, we make it our own. And then it works. And so all over the world, as we look at the differences between the highest performers, the men, the women, the teams across all kinds of industries and professions, including the tier ones at the highest possible levels in the world, they have to do this testing and tailoring of everything. And they learn how to do it in moments. They just become more curious. How might this work for me? Where might I be able to test it first? How would I know if it's working or not?
So what appears to look effortless and like magic is actually a willingness to constantly test to find a better solution, a better version of you.
So this idea of individualizing improvements, super important. One place to start that is simply to notice more. And by notice more, I mean, it's an observation power. So human beings by hardwired nature, as the noise goes up in the world, and it's everywhere around us, the shiny objects, the busyness, the distraction, I mean, all kinds of things that don't matter, but the senses in the brain are pulled toward them. This idea that we have to be able to notice that we're in that, notice that we're caught in the noise. And the problem with the hardwired brain is we tend to live first person. So first person observation is what's in this for me. It's all about me. How could this help me? There are moments when that might be positive for each of us to grow. But when we end up using that lens continually, like most human beings do, we're just thrown around by the craziness in the world. We're missing these chances. And so there's another dimension of observation in neuroscience pioneered by a number of researchers. Robert Tailor was one in biopsychology. It's called third person observation. And literally, so while we're doing what we're doing, we're in this, whatever this is, we can add a second level of observation, which is like a miniature version of yourself on your own shoulder, watching what you're about to do, what you are doing. So we start observing these tendencies we have. And we tend to be so reactive. We tend to do things without pausing for a moment to look deeper at it and adjust it. And that extra dimension of observation, it's also called psychological distance in neuroscience, where when I don't have it, I'm too deep in the middle of things to make sense of it. I lose my bearings. I miss out on opportunities. I don't even sense a challenge coming. And then I'm in it and I'm reacting. And then I have to try to fix that. So we're zigzagging, wasting energy compared to what our best possible life could become. So back to this ability, if I just notice more, and I insert these split-second pauses, and I'm curious about where might the smallest change or adjustment in this opportunity I sense, or this change in how I might adapt to a challenge. How might I apply that? My best instincts get sharper. They do for each of us. All you have to do is use your best, unique, one-of-a-kind instincts. When you're thinking about a new idea, you're thinking about a tool, a technology, a different approach, how might it help you? The lens starts to become, how might this uniquely make the biggest difference for me? And it might have helped other people. It might not help you in the way you want. And that added curiosity will let you start sorting through the noise in a much more disciplined, powerful, positive way.
Dr. Cooper speaks of challenges as part of the growth process, opportunities, not obstacles, just additional steps to be taken.
It may sound simple, but if you bring it as an adjustment to your mindset or lens for how you approach what's on your plan today, the unexpected things that hit you, challenges that you have to face and work around and solve, problems you have to solve, opportunities you could win if you could sense and see them, and now you sense and see more of them, everything changes for the better.
Thank you to Dr. Robert Cooper for sharing his insights with us regarding unlocking our true potential. If you would like to learn more about the work Dr. Cooper and his team are doing, you can find them at cooperstrategic.com.
This is Exclusivia.